Welcome yet again to an amazing month where we're going to share very interesting stuff about business.
Business group coaching is back.
This business started in 2019 on the cusp of COVID.
Right now, the entire organization has over 30 people.
If that is not growth, you see what I meant when I told you we were bringing somebody with results to show?
That the reason why I need to have this is that people who follow me are mostly sinners. So they need to hear the word of the Lord.
So he knew how to calculate cost of goods, he knew how to purchase, he knew how to price, he knew how to repair, he knew even how to collect debts.
You strongly believe Jesus was a businessman?
Yes.
Anyone who sets up a business to work in it, you created a job for yourself, that business will fail.
When the leader sees small, the business is definitely going to stay
Small.
and so is everyone in it trapped in the smallness.
Exactly.
You who think the business people are not in kingdom business. Ooh.
Hello, I'm Tim Abels. Please join us September 18th from 9 to 5 at Worship Harvest Naya. We'll be teaching startups and leaders and how to do AI, general purpose AI. We'll also do very specific AI. We'll do in the breakout areas. So if you're agriculture, education, church ministry, finance, even general business, we'll have breakouts for those. You'll see what to do with AI, what to do with the tools, and that's the purpose of what we're doing. The AI training that I author is being used right now at the largest university in the western half of the U.S. It's also used at 10 Christian universities across the U.S. and also in Canada and Kenya and Uganda. So this is very proven materials, and we'll have local leaders that'll get a flash drive of everything we teach. So again, the first day is heavily AI, and my background is I've IPO'd 2 companies onto the stock exchange. I also founded a 3rd company that was sold to T-Mobile. Even at companies like Dell, where I worked, I started their last 5 divisions. So support, services, things that are now about half of their revenue, were all things that I founded. I started the lab, did the blueprints. I also manage the architects for all but laptops. I have over 100 patents when we talk about innovation. So that's some of my background. I also have a VC fund in US, and then I'm ramping up one in Mauritius for here. And the reason I'm doing in Mauritius is all of that contracts I'm giving away. So how do you do corporate law? Africa doesn't have that. How do you do a hedge fund? How do you do franchise law? And all of that will be covered. And please come to all 3 days. This is quite a bargain. And again, everything is in flash drive. Everything is, very detailed workbooks and such. And when we talk about franchise, a real franchisor, and you have to be real. When you're real and you've got a child company that wants to imitate you, you'll get a mobile app to use for your franchise to double your sales. And then with AI on it, you'll get that from us to double your sales again. And a website, and training, and the contracts. This is going to create probably 50 millionaires just in Worship Harvest. So Africa should have 97,000 franchisors. Things like a Starbucks, KFC, Total Petrol. Right now, all that money is going to other countries. 20% of gross is going to other countries. We'll show you the beauty and model of that. So day 1 is heavily AI. Day 2, we move on to development. How do you develop AI? What is the best language? What are the different 6 skills of AI? And how can your company have all of these skills? So we're going to cover all of that. Real tools, real examples. Everything we show you. Here's what you need for a customer database. Here's how you attach AI. Here's Python to make it work. So the second day is heavily for developers. When I was at Microsoft, I led Visual Studio. That's still 90% of all code. So if you have an old box of 1.0 Visual Studio, that's me saying hello. And so I also have a big background in software, and most of my patents were in software. And so we're going to cover that in great detail for developers. Again, everything is real. In the first 10 minutes, you'll see just how real it is. For example, on Developer Day, the very first thing we'll say is your first class of college, you need to learn Python if you're a software person. You need to learn accounting and the right tool if you're that. Your very first class. Then you have 4 years to be very skilled at it. You also need to start a club that learns the skill. Start a company. Your freshman year, your first year of university, you should start a company. You'll learn 10 times more than you will taking the classes. That's how we teach. And we're going to do this again and again. And the AI age is upon us. It is very real. Nothing is got this level of investment. Right now, half of the world's VC investment came to America. 45% of that this year will go to AI. We'll talk about the top 7 things where that money is going. So everything we teach is real, and the tools are real, and we're also going where the money is real. Everything is real. We're very Christian, and so when we teach, we'll use biblical principles. We also emphasize generosity, and so you will be taught how to redeem and not exploit. Exploit is when you're just in the path of money, just when you're moving money from the poor to the rich, just when you're adding a toll booth, when you're charging interest, all those things of exploiting. We'll show you how instead you use God's gift to build the highway, not just the toll booth. And we'll do great detail several times about how these are Christians to redeem their staff, redeem the customers and the world, and also disciple other leaders. This is your legacy. This is your calling. And only 3 things are eternal. Love God, love your neighbor, love your calling, and work. So we'll talk a little bit about theology of work. Very briefly, but you need to have a foundation. The third day, you're going to have to sign up, maybe answer some questions. We want to be very, very careful with who comes the third day. It's a more advanced investor day. And so for the third day, we're going to want you to understand franchising. This is very valuable information. In fact, all of this training, you will not see it anywhere else. And when we teach something very quick, because it's only 1 day each, some of these topics we literally have hundreds and hundreds of slides on and a 100-page workbook. So your local trainer will have all of this to follow up. We're also happy to follow up with Zoom. So we have other trainers that as we work with Worship Harvest, and these trainers will have Zoom every week, and sometimes you'll have a video to watch, and you'll learn things like how do you do application development, mobile application development, which have 100 times more data than a website. Website doesn't give you much data or AI. An app does. So does freemium products. So does franchise, and so do about 2 other things. Africa has 2/3 of the world's minerals. You have the majority of the world's data, but you're not monetizing it. So we're going to cover all these to help you control and create 100 times the wealth. When we started our nonprofit 11 years ago, and this is my 16th trip to Kampala, 11 years in a row, this is my only vacation, is here, for 11 years. And so when we started in 2015, our vision was move Africa to factory and AI for 100 times the wealth in 1 generation. That is our NGO vision. And that's what we're fulfilling across large churches and large Christian universities all across East Africa, and we're expanding even beyond that. And we'll take questions all day. This is real, and part of being real is bring your hardest questions. We really want your hardest questions on business, on investment, on software. We want your hardest questions. At some point, when we help you, we're going to say, write your beliefs in your bylaws. Write your Christian succession plan in your bylaws. Yeah. So we will help you get big, but at some point we'll say, if you want one-on-one coaching, we want to know that you're not going to be an evil company next week. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the worst companies in America, the Christian owner gave up control. Disney used to be family entertainment, safe for kids. But they want to be top 3 in gambling. So ESPN and gambling, they own. They want to be top 5 in pornography. So full frontal nudity and orgy to the youngest children on Disney Plus streaming movies. So the defaults is the kids can go see terrible things. Yeah. So I need to verify, but this is how bad it was, and pure evil, because addiction sells. They want to be a top seller of nicotine, tobacco, alcohol on their boats, on their properties, and that's where they're putting their money, is in addiction. Addiction beats the stock market by 2%. Even in bad turns and downturns, people still buy their addiction. And they take money from their... Let's say that I have my hedge fund in Mauritius,
And let's say that Pastor Peter invests $1 million in our hedge fund. So 5 years later, we have upside, and he gets back, let's say we make 10 million on his million. We charge him 2% a year, so we're taking 20,000 of his million every year because we still have to manage it. We have to coach our companies. And when I coach a company, they have to get many website visits. They have to have patents that are worth $1 million each. They will be very big companies because we'll be very generous with those companies. And so we charge our investors. He's a limited partner. He gets no vote. We're the general partners. We make all decisions. That's how the contract works. Hedge fund. And so he trusts us and he invests in us. Almost all the money in America of people with $50 million or more is in hedge funds. It's in the left column because that doubles every 3 years. Did you hear that? Why would you have your money double every invest and buy 10% of the company? The owner gets 90% doubling. You only get 10%. But that's still good money if you invest in enough companies. So, let's say 5 years later, Pastor Peter's money grows to 10 million. He doesn't get back 10 million, he gets back 8 million. We keep 20%. That's a hedge fund contract, 220. We get 2% a year to manage, we keep 20% of the upside, and we try to flip in about 5 years. Yeah, the company wins, the investor wins, and the hedge fund wins a lot. Yeah. So you don't have these laws. They're not common here. And you want to change Africa? You need investment. How do you get investment? Hedge funds and franchise and licensing like patents. Money needs to pour in. You can have the best ideas and you grow one company at a time. You won't create a big company. You'll lose to KFC. You could have the best chicken and you'll lose to KFC because 10 people want a child store and they're paying for it because investors are helping them with their new recipes, their new everything. They can go really fast because of money. You need franchise law, you need hedge fund law, and then you can go fast when you have a good idea. Okay. Yeah. And to maximize, you only invest in a venture capital, in a hedge fund, if you know them, if you have their history. There's some really bad ones out there. For 5 years. So most investments are in these 3 buckets, and you want your money to grow faster than 1% a year. So, has anyone ever seen training like this or hedge fund? This is one of the big 3 laws, and it is rare in Africa. And if it's in Mauritius, all the limited partners will want to join. Limited partners will want to give you their money, because they're trusting a corporation in Mauritius, not a limited liability in Uganda. So, what's the difference between a corporation and an LLC, a limited LLG? So suppose I have a corporation in Mauritius, and I'm going to use Pastor Peter again, sorry. Suppose he's got a limited liability. That is tied to him. My corporation is a separate person. I've got Tim and I've got my corporation. Let's say an investor wants to invest. What's separate? 5 years later, the investor gets their profit and they pay taxes 5 years later. An investor has to pay taxes every year in his Uganda company. No investor wants to do that. That money should be doubling. Why would you burn it with taxes every year? National taxes, city taxes, regulatory, all that complexity. Yeah. You only pay tax on exit of a corporation. Is that clear? That's a nice law. That's what created the industrial age. Also, a corporation is separate from my house. If his business is having people that take him to court, they take his house, they take his car. It's one person. Corporation is separate. They can go after my company, but they can't go after me. Also, my corporation is separate from location. It's separate from the calendar. It's separate from me. It's separate from Kampala. I pay 15% in taxes a year in Mauritius. Never more. He pays national, city, things I've never even heard of. He pays, we're trying to get a car. It's shocking, all the taxes for a car. Yeah, it's more in taxes than the car. Yeah, it's cheaper if I build a car. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, if I build it, then it's not a car. Yeah, if I take away 2 wheels, maybe it's cheaper to have a boat tax. I don't know. And you're going to need to ask a few times. And it's really number 10, it's iterative. So it's very, very iterative. And then you always fact check. When you're all done with your web page, with your homework, but you always tell your teachers when you're using AI. By the way, a business student had this instructor's book with hundreds of questions that he used every semester, and that was the homework. And he said, can I give all these questions to ChatGPT and bring you the results tomorrow? So he brought the answers to all the questions the next day, and the professor gave this AI an A. And the professor realized he has to change everything. So students that use AI easily get an A. That use AI for papers. Now the problem is AI is screen scraping everything out there. And so it'll use like 15 words in a row that are right out of Wikipedia. And so be careful when you use pure AI for your homework or something like that, you're probably doing some plagiarism because AI is also. So AI has a thesaurus, a syllabus of the same words, and it replaces the same words where it can so that it's not doing as much plagiarism. So it does some silly tricks like that, but it's really grabbing the world's information. Yeah, and tomorrow we'll learn how it does it and what your options are. And then you always fact check at the end because surprisingly, AI still has noise. It still has mistakes. And so you make AI check on AI. It'll be much easier for AI to do that. You can check too, but it's nice if AI does. So that's prompt engineering. Now we're going to talk about how to make money with prompts. How to make money with prompts with ChatGPT, but you pick your favorite. So this is going to be pretty big, okay? And this is the same outline we've been showing all day. And again, when we have break, we're going to do the backup topics that are very, very important. Okay, so if you survey how to make money, these are broad category, but it's not the impact layer 7 that we talk about. But this is one of the biggest surveys out there of the most people, and they're going to see how to make AI money in many, many places. But I like the model of data that we showed you earlier, and then everything ties to that model. So this is more like this is kind of like describing an elephant looking at a hole. Is it a tail? Is it an ear? Is it a nose? No, we give you the whole picture of the elephant. It makes things much easier. But there's a lot of good surveys out there, but then at the end of the day, the survey is just the ear. It's like, what good is that? Yeah. And so now we're going to make money for the 5 main ways to make money with AI. This is important for entrepreneurs. So how to personalize and sell to an individual, first a group, then to an individual. How to automate machines mostly. How to make decisions. And then move on to content and do the work of 10 people. And then the last one is innovation and patent like Ring Doorbell. And then you've got billion-dollar companies. And we will be happy to help you with patents, to help you write patents, and we'll basically say it's your idea, it's your patent, it's your everything. So it's 100% your control. Everything we do is free. Everything we do is generous. The first time you see something from us that's not free or generous, let me know. And that's what we've done since 2015. Okay, so the big topics are this last line of investor-friendly stuff. So the value of your company is the value of your data. How much of your data can be monetized? That really is the value of your company. If you're a competitor and you are both selling products, but your competitor is collecting data from phones, they're going to look so good so fast. You're both selling coffee, but they're now selling 3 times as much. They know who to sell, how much they'll pay. When you buy Coca-Cola, you pay a different price. Is it in plastic, glass? Is it out of a fountain? Is it in a restaurant? Is it cold? Every price of Coca-Cola is different. They're not guessing. That's AI. Why do they only sell 300 milliliters here in Uganda? Why do they sell 500 milliliter in every country around you? Why do they sell 2 liter there? Why? Yeah, they know. So operations, AI can help you with all costs, with all partners, with all contracts. What are the real big important things in the contract? It can also help you with your what if analysis, but this is even non-AI. And that will be very fast. So this is something you can get good at with a spreadsheet. You can have a friend get good at it, but it really shapes your, don't just say, well, let's start doing all AI all the time, all the places. You really want something to guide your AI. And then patents. If you can do patents, that's big money. So this is a lot of, so the big ways to monetize, and these are the 5 things we showed you in layer 7. So personalization, and we're going to do examples of each of these. So for the next 10 minutes, this is what we're going to do. How to make money because you know that specific customer with AI help. And then efficiency. Can you fully automate? Can you somewhat automate? How can you make all your machines and even your humans more efficient? And then you decide, that's almost as good as automation. When do you buy or sell a stock? How do you tell your house cleaning business to do the houses in this order? Yes, there's a human, it's not fully automated, but you're deciding who will pay more money, who's at risk at the end of the day that's likely to cancel anyway. So you will make all those decisions with a machine. Yeah. And then productivity. Use the number 10x. When you get good at AI, you should generate 10 times as much. Web pages, code, Google. Google is a multi-trillion-dollar company. 1/4 of their code is written with machines. 1/4. That's soon going to be over half. Yeah. This is some of the best code in the world. If they make a mistake, 1 million people lose a service. And they trust AI. And then innovation. We want to talk to you. There are some very big patents. Who's going to be the first to grab data? Let me give you a real example. I'm coaching Brian. Oh boy, camera's on. Okay. I can give you examples of very, very big companies worth 100 million, 150 million. Very big companies. Some of those are going to be the first franchise in their area. Is the camera still on? It is. Okay. Okay, well basically, these guys are franchising brand new areas. They're the first franchise to franchise tree removal. And so I'm working with many franchisors that are grabbing data in brand new areas. They will patent their unique data, their unique interface, just like Ring Doorbell. They're the first to be a franchise in that area. They're the first to have phone apps for 100 child companies that each have 100 customers. As soon as you have 100 KFCs and they each have 100 customers using the app, that data can be patented. And your other chicken competitors are in deep trouble. See, patents are not what's hard, patents are who got there first. Again, right after break, I'm going to talk franchise. Good. So, yeah. This book there, that's how to actually build this. That's tomorrow. So tomorrow we actually use that book and show you how to build it, and we show you better than the book. So here's the first one to make money. Hyper-personalize the customer. So for example, every time the customer touches your company, they come to the store, they go on the website, they call you up for support. That's a touch. When they have a touch, collect data and learn how to make more money. Yeah, I could give you crazy ways at Dell that I help them make money because every customer touch was a chance to make money. Yeah. And it's really testing the customer. I mentioned before that it's 1 in 20, but you're constantly testing the customer. Will they buy this? Will they buy that? And you need a new test every 2 weeks. You never build a product for 2 years, like I said. About every 2 weeks, you put something in front of the customer, and they'll say, I'll buy that, not that. I'll pay extra if the drink is cold. It's like, great. See how that works? Starbucks, as I said, is doing 3 times the sales in 4 years. This is the world's biggest coffee. Isn't coffee a commodity? Not to them. Yeah. This is huge. And so again, they test 1 customer in 20 at the bottom, and they keep growing. When they first piloted this in a few stores with a little bit of data, they were shocked that customers spent almost 50% more. This was like throwing a few people at it like an experiment. And then they realized this is big. And this was published in Harvard Business Review. For $120 a year, you can get Harvard Business Review. You get digital online access. For $180, you get 6 books, plus you get, it's crazy how much access you get, but I'll follow up in email. Yeah, that's one of my bigger sources of data. Okay. So personalization really takes customer data. This is the only affordable customer database. Anything better than this will cost you 1,000 times more money. This is $15 or $30 a month, depending on which one you want. That's a bargain. Let me tell you how your biggest companies run today. If I walked into your biggest company, I would look at the screens and one would say PowerPoint, and all that information evaporates. One would say Word, Excel, email, and all that information about the customer evaporates. It's gone. See, when you talk to a customer and you find out they have a spouse and 2 kids, when you sign the contract and you're all done, you change the subject to the spouse and 2 kids and you walk out. They don't renegotiate the contract. You're happy, you got just what you wanted. Change the subject. When you welcome them, when do they have money? Oh, they have money at the end of the month. That's when you sell. See how valuable this is? All that needs to be put in the customer database, the CRM. So one of the first things your website needs is a customer database. You can feed it with information from phones. So the website gives you global, and it gives you the database, and then you get all this information and feed it. ActiveCampaign has a cult following. Customers would give up a kidney before they leave it. They love this product. If you read the reviews on this product, this QuickBooks Pro, there's only a few products out there that customers love. It changed their company. They put all of their salespeople on it. Then they put all their marketing people on it, and their support, and their live chat, and everything else. So half the company is using one thing, and all the customer information no longer evaporates. See how a business can focus? Yeah. Even before you have AI, you can start collecting data. I'm coaching a $100 million company. When they moved to this, their sales went way, way up. Yes. Good. So there's the reviews. Number 2, the second number 2. I'll fix that. Basically the reviews, they left all these other products. This product does 7 things. So if you're doing email campaigns, who can see what and when and what works? Do people like it in blue? Do people like the campaign with and by the way, you want everything in the top third of the page. When you do an email campaign, put everything important near the top. And then very few people will read after that. Social media campaigns, this does that too. Everything you send to LinkedIn, that's a big one. Facebook, everything else, this will drive it. What's the best time? What's the best reaction? You want to measure who clicked on it, who clicked on buy, who clicked on download. This will have all of that for you. It does all your campaigns. One product. And it works with AI. Day one. Wow. So, customer data is one of the top 4 data sources to make money. Impact layer. Let me ask a question. Have you gotten any training like this? Yeah. Okay. You are obligated to tell 12 others. Seriously. Freely received. Yeah. Seriously. You want to be blessed? Give to 12 others. Yeah. Let me tell you a true story. I told you I have about 100 patents. Thank you. So I wake up at 4 a.m. and I pick up this notebook and I write down a patent. And then I lay it down, I go back to sleep. And sometimes my wife will say, is it 4 a.m.? And I'll say, yes. So her question, she knows it's a patent, she knows it's valuable, and she'll say, is the time 4 a.m.? Because God gave me a patent at 4 a.m. again. Can I take credit for that? You know, there was the smallest ant, and it was in the ear of the biggest elephant. And that little ant, and it told the elephant, didn't we shake that bridge? They crossed a bridge, and the ant said, didn't we shake that bridge? See, that's how it is with God. When God gives you innovation and ideas, guess what? It's 100% God. Yes. So, freely give. Yes. And so this is a very, very big one. Your website really needs search engine optimization to get more traffic, and it needs this. And if your web helper can't do those 2 things, you've got the wrong person. You need to be able to get more traffic to your website, SEO. You need to have all of the customer information, including cookies. And at any time, you can pull up on your website and say, here's how many customers didn't click on buy. Here's how many customers went to the wrong page. You can literally look at the journey of customers because of Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics, GA4. And all this is in our training. It's in the Word file, and it's under the web directory under ICT on the flash drive. So, yeah. And it works with 200 other apps, including AI. Wow. So this is really a hub to plug in any apps you need about the customer, about money, about your product and supply, anything. Yeah. How do you separate all of your non-perishable? You got a restaurant? That's all your non-perishable. Non-perishable is about getting full truckloads and being efficient. What about perishable? Perishable is about don't waste any of it. If it's getting old, sell it. But every warehouse needs to be separated, perishable, non-perishable from perishable. And this can keep track of all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, there is the link, and the best videos are already on the flash drive. So, if you have internet, great. If you don't, get a copy of the flash drive. The best videos on web, on Flutter, on CRM are already on the flash drive. So, it still helps to have internet. Okay. You could buy 7 products, but they're probably not going to be ranked 10.0. Customers love this, and all 7 products are 10.0. Email campaigns, get rid of monkey. Yeah. Yeah. Social media campaigns. Live support desk. And let me go back to the previous page. Guess what? The second bullet, it already works with AI. Single light. And so when I go into the second floor, I can say, oh, there's green parking spots that I can park at, and I can go to that mall real easy. And so I know which floor to go to and where to park. Well, that's really simple. That's like these phases down here that just tells me if the spots are empty or full. But I really want to use more data. I want to know, when do the customers come? Why do they come? What will they shop? And how do I get more of their money? That's going all the way up. So at first, I'm really just answering data questions. I'm getting information. That's not the same as answering wisdom, explanation. See, think of all automation as raw data, but it's not answering what they're doing, why they're doing, and what else would I get them to do? See how I'm going to get more money? This is important. So you need to upgrade to more automation and more business value. And business value is asking the bigger questions, not just, is the spot empty or not? I mean, seriously, I could train almost a one-cell animal to do that, okay? That's very different than, how can I help every store in my mall sell more money, sell more products? Yeah. What days do we need sales? What's the lowest? Yeah, all that information. See, that's much more valuable. Earlier I said, make your prompt 100 times smarter. Now I'm saying your personalized data and your automation 100 times smarter. And we're going to use the number 100. And guess what? All of you are going to believe that someday. Why? Because we have 100x God. Yeah. So, we talked about automation, and tomorrow we're going to talk much more about automation. We're going to talk about robotics. What's the best robotics kit that's 10 times cheaper than any other, that you can build Arduino boards for everything out there? This is the major board used for all refrigerators, cars, everything. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. We're talking about automating Africa with hardware and software that you can teach in primary schools. Yeah, when I met yesterday with your Minister of Education, it's like, oh, look at these schools that are doing robotics and learning software, hardware in early grades. Kids learn fast. And definitely by senior one, they need to really have a money-making tool, preferably Python. Yeah. So decisions are really like pre-AI. Is it what-if analysis on a spreadsheet, on pivots? Is it very specific, the same report? One is data warehouse, one is data mart. So decisions are really the same kind of categories, but now on unstructured AI. Also that vertical data product where you can quickly change it and expose an API, expose money. And I'm going to expand this a lot more, but you get the idea. Content. How can you be 100 times, 10 times more the content? And what are examples to get more web traffic? So this is the company we coached. And the camera's on. So basically, a company gets 50,000 visitors a day to their website. How? There's how. So one of the founders talks to AI and he builds a page. He's done that with about 200 pages. And if it was tourism, those pages would be like individual animals, the big five, the individual national parks, and he asks about 4 questions to make the content really good. And then he uses Ahref. And then with that, he's able to put the best keywords and replace a few of the keywords. So the last step is manual. The page is all written. He'll ask for like a 300-word page, maybe 2 pages, 500 words, but the AI does all that for him. And then he adds the right keywords, and he's on the first page of Google. For about 20 different searches, he's on the first page of Google. Can you imagine if every time somebody searched on Rhino or Murchison Falls, you were on the first page? That's what this guy has. That's why he's doubling sales 8 times a year. Yeah, he's doubling sales every 4 months. Yeah, pretty good. 8 times the sales in a year. Yeah, so very, very good. And all you need is ChatGPT. The free version's enough, but and again, O3, you get access to OpenAI Pro and O3 for free if you're a student. Wow. I don't know how long they're going to keep that, but everybody needs to be a student. Okay? Find a student. I won't say marry a student, but you need to get access, okay? Okay. And notice that as soon as you go to his first page, you go to his benefits, why they're the best company, And then you go to the buy page. Would you like the travel package? Would you like to sign up for newsletter? The big arrow is to get them to the buy page, but if not, he at least gets them to the, would you like to hear about all the exciting safaris and all the exciting, 90% of his newsletter is information. Less than 10% of his newsletter is sales. Oh, well, if you really like that, click here, and that's our current discount. That's our current sale. We have a big groups going every month, whatever. But if you do a newsletter, don't just sell 90%. You're the expert. Your customer will love you. This is all part of our startup training, 400 slides on the drive. Yeah, so you really want every customer to think you're the expert. That means every newsletter is informational. Only 10% is go buy. And it's very soft sell. It's very soft persuasion. Okay, so it's by far the best. There are other search engine optimizers out there that are free. Regretfully, at $100 a month, this is the best. So start with free. Always start with free until it pays for itself. Then use that money to pay for the next one. You know, we are super cheap. My wife and I, our wedding was $50, 200,000 shillings. Here's the definition of money. It doubles every 3 years for God. That's the definition of money. Money doubles every 3 years. Here's the definition of a wedding. Buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress friends you don't like. Buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress friends you don't like. So we got married for 200,000 shilling. We bought a house a year later. My son got married last year for 200,000 shilling. He's buying a house next year. We woke up the next morning laughing because we still had all of God's money and it was doubling. Our friends woke up crying because they owed years of money to the bank, to their family. Yeah, we would never waste money in a day. I mean, imagine us telling the kids, you can't go to the best schools, you can't go to the best doctors, but look at a dress mom wore in one day. Look at a cake we ate in one day. But we can't really help you. 1 Timothy 5:8 says, your children, money goes to your children or you're worse than an unbeliever. Galatians 6:2 says, money goes to big needs of people about to die. That's it. Those are the only two places God's money goes. Yeah. Ephesians 4:28 says the same thing. Money goes to people about to die. Big things. In fact, the verse says, stop stealing, but work with your hands to have savings to help the real big needs. So if somebody comes to that door and they're about to die and I say, I don't have any money to help you, the Bible says I'm stealing. Ephesians 4:28. The first step in all personal finance is savings, or else you're stealing from God. Yeah. You want peace, you want personal financial peace, savings. Then get out of debt. You should not be in debt. You're giving money to the bank and you're working for the bank until July or August. And then finally you're working for God and your family. Yeah, banks, 24%. Your banks charge you pay the full price every 3 years. That means if you signed up for a 9-year land loan, you're paying the full price the 3rd year, 6th year, 9th year, and you're paying for the land. You're paying for 4 times in 9 years. Just wait and pay once in cash. Yeah. Very, very big. It's God's money. It needs to keep doubling. So we wanted our wedding, when she showed up at the door, is the greatest day of my life. We wanted our wedding to be 100 times sweeter, but 100 times cheaper. It's God's money. We didn't meet at noon. We didn't meet at supper. That's too much money. We met right in the middle. We served ground nuts. We served water squeezed with fruit. Yeah. And everything else was free. So, do we need a signature? Yes. So, just a second. No.
This is tax sensitive, so the bank requires you to. Yeah, so this document here is just to make sure that you're compliant with your taxes and all this.
Sure.
So, of course, social security number and signature for your Christian as well.
For hers? I don't know her number.
This is above Christian. This is Tim. This is yours. So this is your sign here and your social security.
And let me do this during break. Can this wait like 30 minutes or not? Sure. Okay, good. Okay, let me just. Okay, but I will definitely do it. Sorry. So, during break, I will have to do an account thing real quick, and the challenge is I need my wife's social security number. So anyway, yeah, and this is Ben. He does our advanced training, and so things like patents and investment and franchise, some of those big, and so here are the free tools. Start with the free tools, and that's a good way. Here are 20 other ways you can use Ahref to replace words. So you do the AI, and you create many other advantages to your website. 20 examples of using AI with their tool. And you can use somebody's free tool if you want, but it's still worth reading these. So, good. Okay, I'm waiting for, there you go. So here's more examples of this productivity. So if you're doing like the next to the last one here in R&D, then you would use AI to write your code and your test and your documentation for your developers and for the customer. So everything is 10 times more productive. See, you really need to think smarter. Yeah, this is not a time to be lazy-minded. Yeah. So here are 100 startups that could use AI for content. When you find your startup in there, you can start using AI, and you can start this company. Are you into customer service? Are you into financial, number 9? You can start your company using AI to build your content. And there's even tools specific. This is the one-page version. We can give you lists of tools specific to your area that can create content. So again, start with the free tool, but if you want the best financial content, you're going to pay a little more for better tools. So that was content. The last category is the biggest money, patents, innovation. So if you have a brand new area, brand new data, brand new interface, you have a chance for a very big patent and a very big company like Ring Doorbell. If you can add a radio to something, it's surprising what else can be automated with just a radio. You're talking smart machines, smart packages, smart, propane tanks, anything. Just add a radio. Yeah. What if you don't like our app? Well, just walk away. Here's the code. If you want to stay with us, we'll give you more features. In fact, you can ask. Ask for more features, we'll give you more features. But if you ever want to leave us, great. We'll still give you more features after you leave. You just have to figure out how to bolt them onto your product. Not a bad deal. Yeah. Now, yeah. So here are some predictions by next year. This is one of the biggest surveys by one of the biggest survey tech companies. Most code will be written by AI. A lot of the pharmaceutical medicines will be discovered by AI. These numbers are almost 0 last year, and by next year, these numbers will be huge. If you thought the industrial age came fast, this is coming in hours. Yeah, this is really big. Let me talk about patents again. Patents are not hard. Patents are who got there first. After we have a break, we're going to start with franchise and patents and talk very briefly. It's not, So you need to build a culture that experiments. Everybody in your company should have 100 times imagination and ask more questions, and they should experiment every 2 weeks. And your entire organization is built around these vertical data products. I can mix this and this and sell it. If this was a car, you'd put a new dashboard in front of the customer. You'd put a new survey in front of the customer. You don't need to build a new car, but you need to get more and more information. Would you like to know a little bit more about fuel efficiency? Would you like to have a coupon to that right there? Because we know where you are, and we know we can sell to that fuel right there. And we know you're near empty. Would you like that service? How much would you pay for that service? Yeah. Yeah. When you build minimum products, this is how. So that book is the best book on building products. And you do it in what do you need to know? If you need to know something, then you build something you can measure, and then you learn. Who can I sell large coffees to? Who can I sell cold drinks to? All that knowledge is very, very important, and this is how you do it. So you go clockwise and keep experimenting every 2 weeks. But you plan in reverse order. What don't I know? Well, that means I need to learn it in the top left. And to learn it, I need to measure something. And to measure something, I need to experiment. This could be a 1-hour new web page. It could be a 1-hour new survey of the customer. That's really nice. Or it could be a mix and match things together. But this is how Intuit. There's a company in America that's the biggest finance company. They have 500 MVPs a year. They have 70 new ones that go out every week. Wow. The customer tells them what to build, how much they'll pay, and they're crushing all their competitors. So, after break, we're going to come back and we're going to cover a lot more, but is this a good time for break? Okay, how long and what's the logistics? Good. Please come back.
Let's give a round of applause to Tim. So I know you are writing down a lot of your questions, and we're going to get into those after the break. So we're going to do a very quick, right now it's just 10 past midday. So we could do a 20-minute break. Yeah, so just 20 minutes, grab something really quick. Then we'll come back at 12:30 and pick up, because like you've seen, we have quite a bit to go through, and would like to just get back to that. Yeah. All right, see you after the break.
For children or God or you. Is that clear? You also don't pray for a bride. 1 Timothy 1:10 is listed with murder because they go to hell. 2 Corinthians 12:14, it says parents give money to children. Children never give money to parents. It repeats it in Proverbs 13:20 and Proverbs 19:14 and 4 times in Proverbs. A good parent gives money to children and grandchildren. That takes 50 years. That's what the Bible says. Africa doesn't like the Bible. The West really doesn't like the Bible. If you think Africa doesn't like the Bible, the West hates the Bible. For 11 years, I've been asked, what is Satan's biggest tool in Africa? Is it other religions? Is it the evil West? And I always say, in 9 countries, it's the parents. They should be investing in their children. Well, my kids are 12 and 14. They have to work better than adults. By the time they're 15, 16, they better be making good money. When they're 18, 19, they better have big savings and be ready to be married. 2 of my kids make more money than the president. None of my kids have bank debt or bank loans. By next year, all but 2 of them will have their house. No debt, no bank. Is that clear? That's what you want. You don't want to burn money in a day. And if she wants to burn money, please, you will be chained. Your leg will be chained